New York Mayor Eric Adams has pledged to tackle rising gun violence in the city. This comes a day after a New York City police officer was killed and another was injured in a Harlem apartment.
Horrific laws in parts of this country where you don't even have to report your gun stolen. That's a real federal change that we can make. In addition to that, imagine that you have to register your car every year. Yet you don't have to register that you still have your gun every year. So we need to look at how do we go about identifying those guns and the guns problems of being out on our street.
Gun violence has rocked the first 3 weeks of Eric Adams' tenure as New York mayor. This is building pressure on him to deliver on his promise to improve public safety. Since Adams took office, a 19-year-old cashier was shot as she worked a late-night shift at a fast food restaurant. A baby was critically injured after she was hit by a stray bullet as she sat in a parked car with her mother. Last year, police recorded 488 homicide cases in the city. Latest incident of gun violence was reported in the neighborhood of Harlem on Friday. The Democratic mayor is yet to present a comprehensive planned crackdown on gun violence. The rising incidents of gun violence are fueled by the accessibility of firearms. On Friday, Adams urged federal action on gun control. He also called upon New Yorkers to work with the cops to stamp out violence.
That is the threaded barrel without race.
Now, for more on this story, we are being joined by Spencer Critchley, joining us from California, US. He is the former communication advisor for Barack Obama's presidential campaigns and also an author. Thank you for being with us on this broadcast. Let's jump right in. Gun violence has, of course, overshadowed the first few weeks of Eric Adams' tenure as the New York mayor. We haven't yet seen a comprehensive plan from him. What are we expecting from the mayor in his attempt to crack down on the scourge of gun violence?
Well, I hope that the mayor will take advantage of a great deal of knowledge that already exists about reducing gun violence. As it happens, I have quite a lot of experience in that area myself. In this part of California, the city of Salinas, California, is a small city, but it had a very serious gang violence problem, way out of proportion to the population of the city. And like many cities across the United States, they followed now well understood strategies for reducing gun violence and have dramatically reduced the murder rate in that city. This has happened elsewhere as well. And New York City, where the mayor is, happens to be the location of the John Jay College of Criminal Justice, which is one of the national centers of expertise on this. So there are strategic solutions that have been proven repeatedly to work. I hope he won't just be reactive and go for the easy way out, which is to just think fixing one thing will fix this complex problem. It has to be a strategic solution, but we do know what that strategic solution is.
Right, and Spencer, the US, which is clearly battling an unabated gun violence issue at home, is quick to issue advisories to other countries over violent crimes there, like India as an example. Should the focus be on sorting out the issues at home first?
Unfortunately, the United States has taken a major hit to its credibility on issues like this, especially over the past 5 years. Under former President Trump, which in many ways made a mockery of the values that we have always claimed to stand for. And despite, the many failings and shortcomings we could point to in the American record over the years and decades, that commitment has always been sincere. Unfortunately, the cynicism and corruption of the Trump administration has called it all into question. And now President Biden and frankly, all of us have a big job to try to regain that hard-earned credibility. I agree. We have to demonstrate that we can act on the same values that we espouse around the rest of the world, or the rest of the world will have a hard time understanding why we get to tell them what we think is the right thing to do.
Right. And Spencer, how has President Biden in the first year of his presidency been trying to deal with gun violence?
I don't think it's been at the top of his list of priorities because he's been dealing with these extremely urgent crises led by the pandemic. and the other major issues that he's had to deal with, the recovery of the economy, attempting to get his ambitious legislation through an incredibly obstructionist Congress. And I would say, despite a lot of the conventional wisdom, at least among the media in this country, his record has been extraordinarily strong, despite some notable failures. For example, getting his Build Back Better initiative through, and the frustration of trying to protect basic voting rights, another one of those core democratic issues that's under threat, unfortunately, in the United States right now. So he hasn't been able to focus on gun violence as much as he probably would like to. I would also say that although it is serious anytime the gun violence rate rises, we don't know why it's happening. It appears to be a temporary spike. It may be related to the pandemic and all the stresses accompanying that. And overall, the violent crime rate in the United States has declined dramatically since about 1991. This is something else that goes against the conventional wisdom because the American media loves to play crime stories. And in fact, the progress we've made on violent crime over the past couple of decades, 3 decades really, has been extraordinary.
All right, Spencer, thank you very much for being with us and all your valuable insights there.
My pleasure.
We are now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.